here tonight. All right? Let's make out we're the convention tonight. How's this for a campaign promise? If elected, I promise a uterus in every pot. That's right, a uterus in every pot of every American welfare mother. Because if their uterus is removed, they won't be having any more babies. That would save the taxpayers mucho bucks, right? Now, to discuss this little proposal, we have the candidate himself. A couple of Nazi separatists, very unhappy welfare mothers, and New York's favorite, Fat Al, the Reverend Al Sharpton. Hang on, gang. Let's get down to work here tonight. We got some action. I want to introduce you. Shut up and let me go here, will ya? Let me introduce you first to David Duke, present presidential candidate, and the former KKK leader. Now, David, this is a special treat for me tonight, all right? To stand in the presence of a man who could be the next president of the United States. Hey, but wait a second. The last time anyone heard of you, you were the grand poobah with the Ku Klux Klan. Are you looking for the linen concession in the White House?
Well, it's always a possibility. The main point is, I think, is that the middle-class people of this country really aren't being heard from in politics. Concerning the welfare issue, why in the world should hard-working, middle-class people who can barely afford children of their own be forced to finance this massive welfare legitimacy rate? And I think it's time for that to end. I don't think we have to have a forced sterilization or a uterus in every pot, but I think what we need to do is start requiring them to practice birth control. If they don't want to do that, then their welfare should be cut off.
No, hello. Well, first, let me tell you something, all right, pal? In New York State, I won't direct this to the entire nation or to you folks out in Los Angeles or anyplace else. Let me just say, in New York State, the average time one stays on welfare is 2 years, first of all. Less than 1% are chronic welfare collectors. And I might remind you, sterilization is permanent. And the average size of a welfare family is 3 people. So welfare mothers with lots of kids is a myth. Baby, I'm as far to the right as anyone else. But, you know, I just don't see welfare mothers having 16 kids so they can get more welfare, because all you get is an extra 40 bucks a month. Got any kids of your own?
I have 2 children, yeah.
Tried to feed them on 40 bucks a month?
The point is, it's not the point of how much money their welfare check received. You're right, the children will cost more than the additional money they receive. But they see that as an incentive. The welfare check being increased is an incentive to them for more money. Also, they also qualify for more food stamps, and I think the food stamp program is wrong. We have so much food stamp abuse. People going into supermarkets, most of us, I think, have seen it, where people go in, they'll buy the best cuts of meat, or they'll buy other expensive items.
Yeah, shame on our poor people. You're not entitled to anything good. Eat hot dogs.
While the middle-class person goes in and tries to make ends meet, I don't think anybody should starve in this country. But I don't think we need a food stamp program. By the way, food stamps can be exchanged because they have a monetary value. They've also been used for things like drugs and every other type of vice that you can think of. I think we need a brown bag kind of charity where people can go in and get regular foodstuffs they need. There should be no starvation in America, but food stamps are
Let me tell you, wait a second. You talking about welfare mothers and about too many kids and that. It's my understanding that the KKK kicked your lily white ass out because you were spending more time between the sheets than with the sheets on. Is that right? Now, you're a good-looking guy, and I imagine you probably found yourself into a lot of those sheets that you didn't wear.
Well, I tell you, sir, I tell you, maybe I should have found myself into a few more. I think the point is I was never kicked out of any Klan group per se. I started the National Association for the Advancement of White People because I think it's a better approach. I've never advocated violence or illegality, but with the Klan you carry a lot of baggage. I think the media really has produced a great deal of it. I think the Klan was a great organization. It saved the South in the Reconstruction period. I'm not ashamed of my activities in the Klan. I acted legally and properly. I think that at some point in this country that white people need to begin to defend their rights. Affirmative action is discriminating against white people. We find, again, a massive welfare program, and a great deal of it's oriented toward blacks. We find crime racking our cities and racking our states, and I think that, again...
It's all blacks, right?
It's not all blacks, but a great proportion of it is, yes, sir.
But that great proportion is black on black, too,
all we hear about in the media is...
great proportion is black on black, too.
Well, a lot of it is black on black, but that doesn't excuse the great amount of crime that's been visited upon white people in this country. And black people, they stick together. They have their organizations, and I think the NAAWP...
Well, then no one says there's anything wrong with having the National Association for the Advancement of White People.
Well, that's what I have, and that's what we're working for.
But I'd love to read your platform, all right?
Well, you're welcome to read it anytime.
Yeah. Dr. Gloria Toot. Dr. Toot, as the Republican Woman of the Year in 1977, as a member of numerous administrations, you have sat so ladylike and silent. What in the world has happened to your tongue?
Well, I was trying to remember that one thing that's great about this country is freedom of speech, and the fact that what he says is rather ridiculous. I really want to call it stupid, really, but I'll be kind and say ridiculous. He has the right to say it. But I would hope that not many people support it, and from what I understand the size of his organization, they never want to indicate
From what I understand, the size of a lot of things may not indicate that he had any real luck. Let me introduce you to a gentleman by the name of Tom Metzger, who is the founder of the White Aryan Resistance. Now, Tom, could you support David Duke for president?
I'm not supporting anyone for president. We do not like any of the candidates, period, and we're sitting this one out. We're showing
That'll probably be extremely upsetting.
We're voting no confidence. Well, until these turkeys start talking about white workers and workers in general a lot more, we have no use for them. As far as the welfare situation, the largest percentage of people on welfare are white people and white women, and we support those white women that are falling through the cracks of the system.
What about the black women who are falling through the cracks?
I am interested right now in supporting the largest percentage of welfare people in the United States and poor people that are white. I see no white welfare mothers represented here.
You won't support the blacks who have the same
blacks,
problem?
they've got all kinds of leaders and groups. They're yelling, they're screaming, I'm screaming. I'd like to sterilize a few of these fat cat corporation people that keep building more bombs and getting us into more military operations overseas. But I would suggest that welfare recipient white people are creating guerrilla warfare against the system. I tell them to take all they can get before some Asian gets it or somebody from outside the country, because it's all going to be gone pretty soon.
David, back to you. What's your platform? I mean, for a minute, I understand you have an unusual position on what the government should be doing with welfare mothers.
Well, I think we need two things. I think we need workfare instead of welfare. I think we should require able-bodied welfare recipients to do work to get their welfare checks. We find the rolls go down rapidly when you do that. And again, I think that we've got to break the cycle of poverty. One statistic...
How do you break it, David?
Well, one statistic you didn't mention is that a great percentage, almost 60% of the welfare recipients today have been it's been a generational problem. But their folks, their parents have been on the system, on the dole also. You break it by going in there when they go into qualify for welfare. The average woman who wants to receive welfare, she should go into an orientation on birth control. This should be required, and she should agree to sign a statement that she will practice birth control or abstain.
Is this white women as well as black women?
Sure, they're not going to abstain, but they should...
Wait a minute. We have seen 60 to 70 million white children aborted in this country since 1972. That is a form of sterilization also.
Well, I'm opposed to
that is
abortion.
more than were killed in the entire Second World War. That is more.
I agree with that, but what I'm
we're
saying...
not going to tolerate the decrease in the white population by pushing birth control to white women.
If someone wants to receive welfare benefits from society, I think they have a responsibility at the same time to the hard-working people who are trying to provide for their children and are paying these taxes who can't afford children.
Well, let's find out where the upper middle class are shipping the jobs out of the country.
Does your platform call for full
I think
employment?
the opportunity for employment must be there.
And you're aware
But
that we can't right now give jobs to
I'll tell
everybody
you
who
something.
wants a job. You're aware of that.
I tell you what I believe. I believe there's a lot of people, and I certainly think there are many people who want jobs and aren't getting jobs, but there's also a lot of people in this country right now who don't want to
What's
work.
your formula for creating jobs as a candidate? If you want to take people off of welfare, if you want everyone to work, then how are you going to create the jobs?
All right, first of all, we have to have a program where the best qualified get jobs.
Now, how are you going to create the jobs? How are you going to create them?
Well, first of all, we've got to protect our country from the foreign trade that's coming in. That's the first thing.
Are you
no such
aware
thing as
that the only
there's no such thing as free trade?
The only time this country has had full employment is at a time of war? Are you aware of that?
I'm trying to answer.
We're going to come back in just a second because this is becoming very boring, all right? Political platforms usually are. Stand with us.
First, there were liquids, then tablets. Today, there's Tempo, a better way to get antacid relief. Better because it's soft and chewy, and just one Tempo has the antacid power of almost 2 of the leading tablets. Tempo, a better way to get antacid relief.
Dexatrim's amazing. I lost weight without being hungry, and that never happened before.
Just one Dexatrim controls your appetite all day, and it's caffeine-free.
With Dexatrim, I wasn't hungry, I lost weight, and I feel great.
It's here, the next generation in salon-style nail lengtheners. From Lee, gel formula Lee sculptured nails. It's easy. Our crystal clear gel just flows over the Lee nail extension to be smoothed with the brush and clear liquid accelerator. Beautiful long nails. Easy to apply as nail polish. No mixing, no forms. Enough for 2 pair of hands plus fill-ins. Active, natural, and salon length. The next generation, Lee gel formula sculptured nails.
Hi, I'm Big Jim Hall for Mr. Big and Tall, where we're having a huge clearance sale. Almost everything is 30 to 50% off. There are name brand suits and sport coats like Palm Beach and Ratner. Winter jackets by London Fog, 30 to 50% off. Sport shirts by top manufacturers, 30 to 50% off. How's your feet? Try 30 to 50% off of selected sizes and styles of Freeman, French Schreiner, Nike, and even socks. It's a supersize sale for supersize guys at Mr. Big and Tall in Country Club downtown and in Southgate.
This is not your father's Oldsmobile. This is the new generation of us.
And this is the new generation at Sunset.
A new 89, 88 Royale is only $13,989.
A new 89 3/4 ton Seeger is only $13,989.
See the new generation
at Sunset Oldsmobile GMC Trust.
Your father's Oldsmobile. Oh, yeah. This is the new generation of us.
I have a question for Dr. Toot, but I have a question for Dr. Toot, but first I want to go. David, are you in a rush for something? Huh? Looking at your watch?
Oh, yeah.
No, good. You told my producers that you were in favor of sterilization.
No, I didn't.
Of welfare mothers.
I'm not opposed to the principle. I mean, we have sterilization right now among college graduates exceeds the use of the pill as a birth control method. So on a voluntary basis, I'm certainly not opposed to it. And if that's the way they want to practice birth control, that's fine. But I certainly am not for a mandatory sterilization. I've never said that.
All right, well, we've heard an awful lot of talk in the racist communities about that. Dr. Toot, what goes through your mind when you hear 2 white racists trying to figure out how to sew up the love canal of America's welfare mothers?
Sickies. You know, they're not practical, they're not realistic. They're not even aware what the medical cost would be to do that. That's number one. But the approach is not rational. The problems that we have in America economically cannot be solved with the platform this gentleman has. In fact, I don't even think he has a platform.
Let me go to the welfare. Let me go to some of the
not only is reducing the birth rate important to the middle-class taxpayer, it's important to the minority person because these children are born into terrible conditions, child abuse, crime, drugs, and we spend.
Nothing is going to justify the sterilization
Ma'am, we
that you're
spend
proposing.
30 times more on welfare today than we spent just 25 years ago in this country.
You
But
have
wait,
more people today than you had
35 times
years
more
ago.
people.
You have more people today. Bear that in mind.
We've got 30 times more people. Wait a second.
I've been waiting a second, and I've
we have
been
more
listening
poverty
to you.
today. We have more crime. We have more
But
drug
you're not
abuse.
solving it,
We have a worse
preaching hate.
educational system.
You're not solving
and
it, preaching
Ma'am,
hate.
this isn't hate to talk
It
about
is hate.
science and what's
It is
going
hate.
on.
You may not recognize
If you
it
can,
as such.
if the birth rate,
It's not healthy.
the reason why we can't help the poor.
I'm just saying it's not healthy.
The reason why we can't help the
With
poor.
your attitude, you can't.
Ma'am, let me finish. The reason
Well,
why
I've been listening to
ma'am,
you all
the reason
the
why
first 15 minutes. The first 15 minutes were yours.
The reason why I can't talk to her, she's not listening. The reason why we can't help the poor is because the welfare birth rate is exceeding our ability to pay for it. The welfare birth rate is higher than our ability to pay for it.
Wait a second. I want to hear from. No, I'm going to be with you in a second, Cyril. I want to hear from Mr. Metzger. Wanted to say something, and I know this has to be urgent.
Well, it's one why raise it. We were told in the 60s and the 70s that if we stopped the birth rate, lowered it, we'd be in a lot better shape. We'd have a higher standard of living. That was told the whites and blacks. What happened? Sure, the whites did it. The blacks didn't do it too much. Then the third world invasion came, and they filled every blank spot of one of those 60 million kids aborted with someone from the third world. You see?
Does that bother you, someone from the third world coming in here?
It does when they take the place of the sons and daughters of the men and women who fought and have lived and worked for this country all their life.
Well, they couldn't have fought too hard if they aborted their kids, could they? Huh?
There's a lot of people that believe that's the only way out of their economic situation. Now they say
What's
people
your
are better.
program for out of the economic situation? What program?
Well, number one.